Right then, we're going to start seated then this morning. So as always, just sit how's comfortable for you. You can rest your hands just in your lap like this, or you can take them over your knees. Do you just take a second though, just to feel that lift and extension up through the spine, want to lift your heart, soften the shoulders. We're going to take a few deep breaths together. So deep in, out through the mouth. And again, deep in and out. Last time, inhale and exhale. So if you feel like you need any more of those right now, take some more deep breaths. If not, just settle yourself into sort of your deeper pattern of breathing, or maybe even working into our ujjayi. So increase the length of that inhale and exhale that suits you. Upon that exhale, you shouldn't feel out of breath or like you're gasping for the breath. Let's take a few more moments here just to settle. And then gently taking the hands on top of your knees, open your eyes if you want to. We're going to do some nice backward shoulder rolls. And forward rolls. And resting your shoulders from here, coming into a bit of a side stretch. You're taking the left hand onto the ground, up and over with your right arm. You may find that you want to come onto your forearm here. Just keep lifting it through the side of the body though, finding that main stretch here. And then just taking the hand over the head as we lift up, coming into a little neck stretch. So the right ear goes towards the right shoulder. We keep pressing out through these left fingertips. So you'll feel the stretch across the left side, down from earlobe down to the shoulder. And through centre, same thing on the other side. So taking the right hand down, up and over with the left. And into the next stretch, hand on the head. Over we go. Taking left ear to left shoulder so the stretch is felt down the right side this time. And back through centre. Taking the hands into prayer, inhale, lift. Coming into a twist, so turning towards the right, taking the left hand onto the knee. Make sure you keep that lengthened spine, that right shoulder rolling out. Through centre, hands to prayer, lift. And over to the other side, so turning towards the left now. Hands through prayer, lift. And then taking the hands out in front of us now, we're just going to warm up our wrist. So gentle fist, a few times one way and a few times the other. Just reminding yourself we're just moving from the wrist. And then taking the hands out in front of us, pressing through the heels of the hands, but also pressing through the arms and the shoulder blades as well. So stretching through the top of the shoulders. And then flipping down through the top of the hands, we press. And let's take some big star shapes. And let's find our way now onto our hands and our knees. We're going to do 3 rounds of cat-cow. So line yourself up in your tabletop position. And then we're going to inhale, lift head, lift the tailbone. Just take the shoulders back slightly. And exhale, concave round. Trying to keep the shoulders over the wrist if you can, sucking the belly button in. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Bringing ourselves to neutral, and we're going to settle into child's pose now. So if you can take the knees wide and slide back, then do. If not, if it feels more comfortable, remember just take the thighs together and rest your body over your thighs instead. We're going to lift our body up ever so slightly and just walk our hands over towards the right. Then press the hands out, the left hand out, pull the left hip back. Bringing a little side stretch into this. And then releasing, let's work our way around to the other side. So pressing out through the right hand, pulling back with the right hip. And releasing, bring yourself through center. Lifting up then into downward facing dog. Taking a little bit of a pedal out through the feet and the toes and the ankles, taking it a little bit wider if you need to. And then when you feel ready, settling into your downward facing dog. You may feel that we need to soften our knees this morning whilst our body starts to wake up. And let's gently walk our feet to the front of the mat, coming into a little ragdoll. So holding the elbows, little sway again. A softness through the knees here is fine as well, if that's what feels right. And then inhale, lift, bringing the feet together and rising up through the fingertips. Hands down by our side. So we're going to move into a sun salutation now. Let's take a breath though to begin. Inhale. And exhale. We inhale, lift up through the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Again, soften the knees should we need. Halfway lift, maybe our fingertips are to the floor or our hands are to the shin. We want to try and straighten the leg though if we can to find that stretch. We're going to step back now, find our way into plank pose or come to your knees. That's where we do our chaturanga. Let's take an inhale, exhale with control, bend the elbows, and then inhale, lift, either into cobra with our thighs on the ground or thighs lifted into it facing dog. Moving in to downward facing dog, adjusting the feet if you move. Another breath or two. Stepping or walking to the front of the mat, taking that halfway lift again. Forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands down by our side. The same at the top of the mat. Let's take another inhale. Exhale. Moving ourselves into chair pose now. So thumb down, arms up. I'm just going to change direction so you can see what I'm doing next. So we're going to take our hands into prayer and turn towards the right. We want to try and hook this top of the left arm over the thigh. If it doesn't reach, just twist. So find that twist through the body, through the chest, Some of you may have quite a good clearance with the arms. If that's the case, you may be able to open up here. No pressure though, if not. So we're going to lift up slightly, move through centre, give our thighs a break. We're going to inhale, lift up, straighten everything up. And then exhale, we're going to come back down into chair pose, extending through the arms for this first time before we move to the other side. Hands to prayer, turn to the left. We're either hooking, hovering, or opening our arms. Releasing, moving through centre, inhale, lift, straighten it all up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift again. Stepping or jumping back, depending on how energetic you're feeling. Full plank or on your knees, inhale. Exhale, down we go. Inhale, lift. Note your shoulders. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. We're going to move our way through now to warrior one. So turn the left foot out slightly, bring the right one forward, as many steps as it takes. Rising up through the arms. So keeping the energy, working through that back leg so the edge of the foot is nice and snug in the mat. You want to try and turn your hips as much as you comfortably can to face towards the front. Good hinge in that front leg. Warrior two. Inhale, straighten. Hips move out, arms down, settle back in. Look what our shoulders are doing, pressing them away, pressing out through the fingertips, gaze down those front fingers. And inhale, we're going to straighten up here. So this is the point, I'm just going to break down a triangle pose for you a little bit. So triangle pose, generally, I say keep your feet about one of your legs apart. Okay, that is just a general rule, so adjust them as you need. So if you want to start by moving your feet as what feels like a good stance, and we can move in between. The front foot is pointing forward. The back foot is at around 45 degrees. So your heels are pointing out, toes are pointing in about 45 degrees. That angle can change to what suits you. So heel aligned to heel is probably going to be trickiest for the balance. You can go heel towards the arch of the back foot, that may help. Well, there's nothing wrong with maybe tracking it instead. So instead of putting your feet in a straight line, bring them more on train tracks. So they're running this way instead. So if you find in triangle that you're a bit struggling with your balance, then just do the tracks instead. So from here, we're going to take our arms out. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to feel like I've got hold of your front hand and we're moving forward, but we're taking this back hip back as well. So pull the hip back and bring our arm forward. And this underneath your armpit through to your hip should be as long as you can make it. Then the hand comes down just wherever it rests, and that could be here, okay? From this point, just move your hips forward slightly and pull your ribs in. Just try and find that tracking over the front hand. Sorry, over the front leg. Shoulders separated from each other. Just see if we're putting all of our weight in the front of the leg. If we are, maybe come onto the fingertips or maybe just press the hand flat so we're not resting all of our weight there. So the main stretch I find is felt here with most people, but this is also a hamstring stretch as well. So you may feel quite a strong stretch in that front leg. So we're going to take our head down, lift up. So we're going to do triangle again. I'm going to bring a couple of variations into it though. If you prefer to stick to the same one though, it's your practice, feel free to. Inhale, exhale, forward. So hip pulls back, hand moves forward, all that space. So from here, we can take the hand behind our back, which we've done before. This can increase that stretch around the hip, I find. And then to take it up a level more, and this does intensify the pose quite a lot, lift up that front arm, so palm facing up. So you're definitely not going to be putting any weight into the leg from here. Gaze down, releasing the hands, come all the way up. And we're going to turn towards the left of the mat now. So we want to separate our legs a little bit more, coming into a wide leg forward fold. So hands onto the hips, take an inhale. Exhale, hinge at the hips, releasing your hands down to the ground. I'm just going to swap sides so you can see. So start here, coming into a wide leg halfway lift. So it may be that you're on your fingertips here. Lift up through the back of the legs, extend out through the body. This could be enough for us this morning. So this is a hamstring stretch mainly. So this is where we want to feel it. We want to take it deeper. Then we flatten the hands and maybe start to walk them underneath our body. So you want to try and keep your elbows parallel to each other as they come down. And then start walking through from there. For those of you who do have a little bit of depth in this pose already, you may want to turn your hands the other way and bring them straight underneath your arms. So you can almost grab the mat and you can give yourself a little bit of assistance to bring yourself a little bit further down and deeper into the pose. And then gently releasing, taking the hands up, coming back to that halfway lift. Extension through the back of the legs, extension through the spine, open heart, hands to hip, all the way up we come. And we're just going to step ourselves back to the front of the mat. So just soften the legs and back to the front we go. Let's take a breath. Exhale. Same thing on the other side. We're going to start again with chair. Come down, arms up. Hands to prayer. Turn to the right. So hooking, floating, arms open. Releasing through center. Inhale, straighten it all up, thighs a break. Back down, chair pose. Hands to prayer, over the other side. Through center. Inhale, lift, straighten it all up. And forward fold, diving down. Halfway lift. Stepping or jumping back into your plank or on your knees. Take another inhale at the top. Exhale, down we go. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. So I've just swapped sides so you can see what I'm doing. So I don't have my back to you. Let's take a breath here. Warrior one, turning the right foot out slightly. The left one comes forward this time. Up we come. Warrior two. Inhale, straighten, twist the hips down. Sometimes we need to just take the legs a little bit further out with our warrior two. Inhale, straighten that front leg and then adjust the feet as you need to now for your triangle pose. Inhale, exhale forward. So hip comes out, hand comes forward. Rest the hand down. Bringing the hips forward, pulling the ribs in, so engaging that core. We're doing that because most of the time people start off like this in triangle. So if we pull the hips forward and pull the ribs in, I'm drawing myself into that nice straight line to get the most out of that stretch in the side. Gaze down, rising up. So we're going to give our other options a go now. You can stick with option A. Inhale. Exhale forward, hand comes down, adjust yourself. And then from here, we can take the hand behind our back. And we can release that front hand. Gaze down, releasing, all the way up we go, and turn towards the right of the mat now. Ready for a wide leg forward fold. So taking the legs as wide as you comfortably can, toes pointing slightly towards each other, hands on the hips. So inhale and exhale. Inhale, taking the arms out. Exhale, bring them behind. Interlace fingers, palms together if you can, and extend the arms. We want to lift the chest as we go. Inhale. Exhale, hinging at the hips, diving down. And then taking the fist overhead in front of it. So weight slightly into the balls of the feet, lifting it through the back of the legs. And remember to breathe. Inhale, not too fast, all the way up. Keeping hold of the fist, open the chest. Releasing the hands, and just gently find your way to the top of the mat. Let's take another breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift it through the arms. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Stepping back with the right leg, but we're going to lower ourselves straight into a low lunge. So drop the back knee. We're going to lift the arm straight into an eagle arm. So the right arm is going to bend first. Left one under, turn the hands towards each other, and the hands come up. So try not to sit back then into this pose. You're still taking the weight forward, lifting the hands up. Let's release the hands from here. We're going to take the right hand down onto the ground. We're going to do a bit of an open lunge now. So we're going to let that left knee come open. My left hand is going to open up. I'm going to bring my chest back slightly and just open it through my body. Back through centre. We're going to bring a quad stretch into it now. So some of you may be able to just grab the foot and just guide in from here. Or if we're not quite there yet, we can sit ourselves back up and squeeze the back heel in without the use of our hand. Or you can hang out here if it's not good on your knees. And releasing, hands come down. Drawing the feet together, forward fold. Inhale, up we come. Exhale, back to mountain. Take a breath in and exhale. Inhale up through the arms. Exhale, fold. Halfway, stepping back with the left and gently coming down onto the back knee. So this time the left one hinges first, right one comes under into our eagle arms. And releasing, taking your left hand down to the ground. Right arm opens up along with the right knee. I'll just show you in this direction as well. So we're opening up. Let that foot curl up as our knee moves out. Back to centre and into our quad stretch. So you may just be able to grab that back foot, and we may want to come up, either come into it that way, lift the back leg up, or you can just keep it dropped onto the ground, like I said, if it's not feeling great on the knee. This time we're going to take our hands down, drawing our feet together, forward fold. Inhale, rising up. Hands down by your side, taking a breath and exhale. We're going to come into a balancing pose now. I haven't done this for a little while with you. So we're going to root down through the left foot, lifting up through the right. We're going to hold on to the shin. So we're going to lift the leg up as high up towards the chest as we can. Find your balance. If that means softening that standing knee a little, then that's fine. So you can just either hang out here, or we can try and bring a back bend into it. So the hips come forward, and I'm going to bring my body back. So I'm really pressing in to my shin, just to help anchor me a little bit. Gently guiding forward. Releasing, if you need to just move through the ankles, then do here. Taking the right foot down now, rooting the right, lifting the left. So grab the shin. If you need to just do one hand and grab hold of the wall or something, then of course that's fine. Lift up, high up the chest as we can. Just take a moment to gather your breath, find your balance, and then think about finding the back bend. Don't try and get straight into it with one move or one breath. And releasing. Feet come down, little pedal through here. And standing back to mountain, taking a breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale up the arms. Exhale, fold. Just straight into downward facing dog this time. Take a breath. Rolling ourselves forward into plank. Now you may just need to adjust the feet. We're going to try and come onto our bellies, but with control. So inhale. Exhale. Bending the elbows. Onto our bellies. Then we're going to bring our forearms out ready for a Sphinx pose from here. So now pressing into the ground with the forearms, pulling forward with the chest, shoulders come back into Sphinx pose. Remember, you can either ease it by taking the arms forward or intensify by bringing them back. Another breath or two. And lowering down from here. We're going to come onto our fingertips now. So again, consider your distance of them depending on how that feels on your back. So when we're ready, we're going to press into the ground with our fingertips, lift up through the chest. Don't worry if our elbows are staying a little bit bent. Do try them and find that openness through the shoulders. Take the fingers further forward if that's going to feel better for you. So we're just going to bring this in just to a little flow now. So let's inhale here at the top. Exhale, down we go. Then inhale, rising up. Let the move take as long as the breath. And exhale. Last inhale. And exhale. Just taking your arms by the side of your body now, just resting the head for a moment. We're going to come into our locust pose. So we're going to press into the ground with our hips, lift up through our legs, our thighs, lift up through the chest and press the fingertips back. Remember to breathe in this one. And gently lowering down. So option of doing the same one again, or we can take our hands behind our back this time and interlace them. And then we can lift up this way. So when you're ready, hips pressing into the ground as we rise up. So either hands released or hands clasped. Figure out what feels good for you. And lower ourselves down from there, releasing the hands. And let's glide our way back into a nice child's pose for a moment. And up into downward facing dog. We're going to lift the right leg up now into three-leg dog. Just open our hip a little bit. So we're going to bend the knee and then just take that little pivot through the hips. Just stretch out through the front of the hips from here. Extending back out, three-leg dog. We're going to step forward, coming into a low lunge. So take the right foot forward, the left knee drops, and we're going to up through the arms, do a few circles. So backwards all the way around. One more time. Lifting back, taking a breath here, sinking the weight forward. And we're going to move into three-leg dog if we can, or you can stop off in four-leg dog if you prefer. So the hands come down, we're going to hook the back foot. If you can, up and out through the right leg, or if not, set yourself back into four-leg dog. And then moving into pigeon pose. So right knee, right wrist, sliding back with that back leg. So make the adjustments. Your shin as far forward as it feels good, flexing through the ball of the foot, making sure we're not sinking down towards the right with our bum. Nice and centre. Start on your fingertips. Inhale. Staying here. Not coming deeper either into our forearms. Hands out long. Or taking your hands into prayer and just resting that little point at the beginning of your brow on your thumbs. Just finding that little pressure point if that's what feels good. And lifting ourselves up onto our fingertips. Coming into mermaid pose now. So we're going to bend the back knee. This may feel enough for you. Or we reach round. I do this every time. It's the same hand as same foot. So reaching back with your left. So we're cupping on the big toe side of our foot. We can stay here or draw in. Find the shoulder, elbow crease. Lift up. We'll just find the balance. Remember it, unless your hips are pretty low to the ground, the balance here is going to be a little bit tough. And gently releasing. So now we're going to move into cow face pose. So we're going to whip this back leg round. So I'm going to change my direction. So we've got a few options. So what we want to try and do is stack the knees in a straight line through our body. So your feet can either be more like parallel with the front of the mat or bringing them back so they're your heels are closer to your bum. This is not happening, don't worry. That top foot, that top hand, just bring here instead. So just hook it over, okay? So if you are in this position, you can just squeeze forward, or we do have the hand option that goes with this pose as well. So we're going to take the right arm up and behind our back, taking the left one round to meet it. So you may be able to hook with the fingertips, or you may just need to try and keep that armpit open from here. So again, this feels enough, stay here. Or we deepen the pose by bringing our body over the thighs. So the stretch around the side of the hips, the side of the thighs will probably start to increase as you bring your weight into the pose from here. And then lifting ourselves up from here. So let's unwind ourselves, bring ourselves into boat pose. So you may want to hold on to the back of the knees just to find your form. You may want to take your legs out straight away. We're going to move ourselves into downward facing dog. So we can either cross our legs over, roll our way over, or you can come onto your knees first. So moving into downward dog, however works for you best. So we're going to do that same little routine again. So this time we're going to lift it through a left leg, find three-leg dog to begin. So nice and high with the leg, and we're going to bend the knee and pivot open with our hip. Back to three-leg dog, and step forward, low lunge. So drop the back knee. We're going to again lift up through the arms, a couple of big circles. And again, settling ourselves into the lunge. So either into three-leg dog or four-leg dog first. Taking the hands down, gliding back. And then when you're ready, it's pigeon time. So left knee, left wrist, slide back with that back leg as much as you can. So just make those little micro adjustments so it feels good in the pose. Start on your fingertips. See how you feel. Inhale. Staying here or working a little bit more weight into the pose. And lifting up, back onto your fingertips. And we're going to give mermaid a little whirl again. So it may be that we stay here or we reach round. So it's same hand as foot. Drawing it in, finding balance. And releasing. So cow face on the other side now. So don't be surprised if both sides feel different. So this back leg's going to whip around. And we're trying to stack knees on top of each other through centre of the body. Adjust the feet to how it works for you. Or this top leg is flat here on the ground. So this time we're going to take the left one behind us. The right one comes to meet. So do expect both sides to feel different here. It's more unusual for them to feel the same than it is for them to feel different. And if you feel ready and if it feels comfortable, taking the body over the thighs. And gently rising up. Let's unwind ourselves, getting ourselves into a little chair, not chair, boat pose from here. And then finding your way now into downward facing dog. Stepping forward, front of the mat. Let's go into a little halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Hands down by our side. So we're going to move into balance again now. So we're going to start with tree and then we're going to move into something called balancing star pose. So it's a little bit like half moon. So starting with tree, we're going to root down through this left foot and lift up the right. So take your foot up as high as you want to, but in a moment you're going to be releasing this leg, okay? Taking another couple of breaths here. We're going to take our arms out and this bent leg, ooh, we're going to release. And then from here, it's going to be like we're cartwheeling and bringing ourselves onto the side. Back through centre, then coming into pyramid pose. So we're going to step back with the right foot. As you can see, my feet are train tracking, they're not in one straight line. Taking the hands to the hip. Let's inhale. So pulling the heart forward. So we may be able to touch the floor. If not, we're going to bring our hands back. This is a hamstring stretch, so you want to try and keep your legs straight if you can. So either back with the hands or bringing them on the floor to guide yourself along the length of the leg. So if you're not really feeling a lot through the back of the legs, it may be that you need to adjust the distance between your feet, either closer or a little bit further apart from each other. Another thing, like when we do half splits as well, you can always come onto the heel of the front foot and that's going to increase it a little bit more for you too. Gently releasing out of the pose, and we're going to lower down and move straight into lizard. So we're going to bend that front knee, drop the back leg, and we're going to take the left foot out towards the side of the mat. So coming onto the fingertips, take an inhale. Again, you can stay here if you want, or we come down onto the ground using the blocks or coming on to your forearms instead. Well done. Gently lifting ourselves up from here. We're going to bring the foot towards the centre of the mat again. And we're going to draw our feet together. Come into a forward fold. Rising up. Hands down by our side. So we're going to do all that on the other side. So if you want to check through the legs just for a second, you can. So we're going to move into the balancing poses to begin. So this time we're going to root down through the right and lift our left. So taking it where you feel that you'll be able to control yourself into the next pose. Sometimes when we're really high, it works better if we use our hand to then release that. Balancing star, so release hands, release the leg, work out what we're doing first, find the balance, and then start to pretend you're cartwheeling. Trying to keep our body straight, so just like we do when we're working into our triangle, you need to soften that standing leg too, that can help with the balance. Bringing ourselves back to centre, but before we put the foot down, taking it back, getting ourselves ready for pyramid pose. So you want that little bit of a track between the feet, hands onto the hips, inhale. Exhale, forward with the chest, either hands back or onto the floor from here. Adjust the feet to what works for you. You may want to take the heel back. So from here we're going to move into a lizard pose. So we're going to drop our back knee and take the right foot towards the right side of the mat. So try and slide that back knee back as far as you comfortably can, so you feel a good hip flexor stretch from here. But then don't keep moving the weight forward as well. So inhale, see how it feels on this side, and exhale, drawing ourselves down a little bit lower if there's space to. And gently lifting ourselves up from here, coming onto your hands. This time we're going to move into downward facing dog though. So hooking the back toe and stepping back. You want to take a little bit of movement now through the legs. I think it always feels nice after a bit of lizard. And now we're going to bring ourselves onto the floor and take your legs out wide straight away. So we're going to do wide leg forward fold to begin. So take the legs out as wide as you comfortably can. If we're a little bit challenged on the hamstrings, so remember sitting on something can sometimes help with that little tilt of the pelvis to get you into the pose, or a softness through the knees may be what you need as well here. But we've got knees pointing up, toes pointing up, same direction. Your thighs are almost rolling out. You still want to activate your quads here. Taking the hands inside of your legs, find that lift up through the spine, and then start walking forward from here. So just remember, belly and chest is what we're aiming to get down to the floor first, not our forehead. So not curling round and bringing this down. So if you are at a reasonable distance down, you may want to grab hold of the edge of the feet. This can work as an anchor then. So instead of someone assisting you, helping you draw in, this can help bring the stretch a little bit deeper for you, should you want. And then gently lifting it from here. We're going to come into a twist now. So we're going to take the left hand just over the thigh, so maybe around the thigh or around the knee. Taking the right hand behind, just like we did at the first twist we did. Lift it through the spine, that right shoulder rolling back. And releasing. Let's work on the other side. So swapping over the hands, over the other side. and gently unwinding from here. So now we're going to work on our, it's got a balancing straddle pose, but it's like a balancing wide leg forward fold that we do. So if you want to balance on your tailbone and grab hold of your big toes, if it's too uncomfortable holding on the big toes, just hold on to the edge of the feet. Okay, do that instead. We're going to start just by one at a time. So extending out through the right. It's okay if it stays bent. And then bringing it back in. Taking the other one out. And then bringing it back in. So we're going to try and take them both up now. Try and extend them both. So to begin with, what we find is quite often we end up sort of sitting like this. This helps counter the balance quite a lot when we're like this. And sometimes it's quite nice to stretch out through the top of the back anyway. But as we progress into this pose, we want to try and lift the chest up and almost pull the elbows in to bring the legs a little bit closer. So you are a bit more in control of what's happening in the pose. And then gently releasing from here. So we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to roll back like we've done many times before and always makes us have a little giggle. So I need you to do a little bit of a health and safety check around where you're sitting, okay? We do not want to roll back and smash your wife or break anything, okay? So just be gentle. Right, get yourself balanced. We're going to do one leg and then the other, then we're going to roll back. You can watch me first if you want. So taking the right leg out. And then release, left leg out. And then release. So whilst you're balancing, you can just watch me and I'll explain what we're going to do from here. So from here, we're going to roll back. We're aiming to try and get our toes to touch the ground, but this all comes with time, so don't worry if not. Try and stay here for about 3 breaths. And we can roll up in 2 ways. You can either try and keep the legs straight as you move up, or I know when I first began, I bent my legs, and that's okay. So you can always bend them, roll up, and then straighten them from here, okay? And that's all right to do too. It helps get the momentum going. So when you're ready, let's roll it back. Try and give about 3 breaths here. If it's finding it's too much on the lower spine, maybe release the hands from the toes and just grab hold of the lower spine instead if that feels better. I know not everyone's toes are going to necessarily touch the floor. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up. Well done. And bringing the feet to the ground from here. So from here, we're just going to do a little forward fold, our little Baddha Konasana pose, taking the hands inside of the legs, coming on top of our feet, stretching out through the spine. So I'm pulling forward with my chest, extending my neck. I almost want to get my head down towards my feet. So just stay here for a moment. And lifting out of the pose. So we're going to bring another option into it now. If your hamstrings are a little bit tight, this may not work the best for you. So I'm giving everyone the option of either doing the first one again with wide legs, or the second option is bringing the legs together. So it's like a forward fold over the thighs. So we can either hold on to the toes or hold on to the edge of the feet. So my legs are together. Okay, I'm trying to bring my ribs over my thighs. If we can't quite reach, and this may not just be for flexibility, it could be just down to sort of our limb size, we can always hold on to the back of the legs here instead. Okay, so as far as rolling back, I find the balance here is a lot trickier than the wide leg fold, but the roll back is the same principle really. So rolling back, and then when you're ready, rolling back up. So this can still involve you bending your knees to roll back up. Remember, option A is always there if we're struggling with the straight leg. So this one is a little bit harder to work in. Well done. And then gently release. So that's taking the legs out long from here. And we're going to work just into a forward fold using the floor this time to help it. So hands to prayer lift. Big stretch through the side of the body, all the arms. So get as much length as you can, and then over we go. Hollow the belly, ribs towards the thighs as we move then into the stretch. A few more breaths here, so slowing it all down. Gently lifting it from here. So moving ourselves onto our back now and drawing our knees into our chest. And we're going to take the head up towards the knees. So finding that little stretch out through the top of the shoulders and the neck. And then releasing from here, coming into our supine twist. So keeping hold of the right shin as we extend out through the left leg rather. Taking that knee over to the left. And when we stretch out through the right arm, you can always cactus that arm if you're struggling for space. So your stretch is felt through the side of the body, through the hip, through the top of the thigh. If you're not feeling anything through this twist, then you may just want to take the leg a little bit further up before you start twisting over. Remember, the aim is not necessarily to get your knee to touch the ground, it's to find that stretch through the side of the body and the side of the hip. And let's bring ourselves to centre, gather up both legs. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So we extend through the right this time, keeping hold of the left. That knee. So we gather up as high as feels right, taking it over, extending out through the left arm. Our gaze follows the arm as well. And bringing ourselves back to centre, drawing both knees in, giving yourself a little squeeze. And let yourself sprawl out in whatever Shavasana position tickles your fancy this morning. So once we're all in a comfy spot, we're going to come back to our 3 nice deep breaths. We're going to take this exhale through the mouth and exhale with noise as well. It's like in with the good, out with any tension that we may still be holding on to. So deep in. Exhale out. And again in. Exhale. Last time in. Exhale. If you need any more of those, then continue. If not, let's just settle back just to our natural everyday breathing pattern now. Just soften everything back down. Taking our focus within our body, just meandering through. Notice where we may need to make just a little micro adjustment here or there. Just to loosen the grip that we may still have over our body. So what are our hands doing? What are our feet doing? Where are our shoulders? We want our jaw to be soft. Our attention just laying just in this moment. Soaking up the benefits of our practice this morning. Just a few more moments here, just guiding our attention back just to the now. Let's take a little bit of movement now through our fingers and through our toes. Arms overhead, stretching out through the legs as well. Stretch up through the ribs as you pull your belly button down into the mat. Let's gather our knees up to our chest one last time. Perhaps a roll on the spine. And let's gently make our way up to seated where we began. So seating however's comfortable, resting the hands wherever's comfortable for you. Again, lifting up the chest, softening the shoulders. Let's take a gentle inhale. And now softly through the mouth. And again, inhale. Exhale. Hands at prayer at the heart. Closing off our week, beginning our weekend with a positive thought and a full and grateful heart. Take another deep in and exhale. And Namaste to all of you.